Hello, my name is Kurt. Today I'll be talking about another MGTOW topic. Just drop some multivitamins. You know how it is, people. Got to take care of ourselves. Um, Now I want to touch upon a topic that I kind of brushed a little upon in my previous video, and that's Amish women and Amish communities. Now, if you haven't checked out my previous video, it was titled "Too Many Low-Quality Women: The Ultimate Truth." Towards the end of that video, I get into Amish communities and Amish women. And I said that I'll make a video elaborating on that, and that's what I'm doing right now. In my point of view, the way I see things as a MGTOW is there is two ways of going, and they're both on the extreme side of the spectrum. One extreme is just a life of complete debauchery and luxury, you know, mansions, fast cars, fast women, pumping and dumping, escorts, you know, all that stuff. And the other side is the other extreme, which is sort of Amish community, or finding, you know, a lot of MGTOWs will say, oh, there are no great women out there, and they'll fuck you over in one regard or another, but that's not necessarily true, because I'm not sure if they're familiar with Amish women. In the Amish community, it's a religious sort of thing. You know, they follow a religion that prohibits them from using electronics and cars and all this other stuff. Basically, they're living in the dark ages, so to speak, but they're living a more simple and traditional life. The man follows masculine roles, and the female follows feminine roles. Like, when I was there, I went on a trip there, like, last summer, I believe. I saw the man holding his alpha presence and disciplining the woman and the children and his children. They were in the field, whatever, the children were getting a little, you know, rowdy, and then they pulled him by the shirt and stuff like that and told him, no, you can't do that, whatever, calm down, whatever. If you did that in today's world, in today's society, like in Target or Walmart with your own kid, like you pulled them by the back of their shirt or whatever and told them, stop that, whatever, some dumbass feminist would come around and say, oh, that's child abuse, and she'll call the cops, and you'll have problems. They might fucking take your kid away over some stupid ass shit like that, because that's how today's world is fucked, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, the man held the discipline in the Amish community. You know, he would, you know, tell his wife, you know, take care of the kids, you know, I'm working in the field, this and that. Like, you know, it wasn't true violence, like he wouldn't smack him or punch him or whatever, but discipline was held, and then they respect discipline and they follow discipline there. And the women are completely subservient to the men, you know. An Amish guy grows up and then pretty much interacts with the woman he's pretty much going to marry throughout his entire life, and then later on they get married, so she's a virgin 100% and he's a virgin 100%, and it's all under God and their beliefs and stuff like that. So there is no running away, people. That there's different laws that pertain to Amish communities. They have their own judicial system. They don't follow laws and regulations of like the government, so to speak, because they're a religious community. So they have their own little court system. They have their own little, you know, law system. And there's no such thing as divorces. It's till death do us part, literally. Like, there's no running away. You have to stick through it, and the women have no choice. Whether they like it or not, they're going to have to be subservient to that man forever. And there's some cases that, yes, the Amish women do run away and, like, a whole bunch of other stuff, but like I'm saying here, it's ridiculous, but this is the point that today's world has come to. You need to follow the extremes. Like I said, extreme number one, a complete life of debauchery, or extreme number two, a complete life of just, how should I say, of purity and traditionalism. And that's a true traditional way, true traditional families in those communities. Like, you're not going to find anything more traditional than that. So basically, if you want to find a great woman nowadays, you have to find one that's either in this sort of fucking community that's completely sort of, I don't want to say brainwashed, you know, I respect everybody's beliefs and all that stuff, but, you know, a woman that's stuck in that way, you know, or a life of debauchery. That's the only way. Because in today's world, you never know, people. You might find like a virgin chick, and then she'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm a virgin," this and that. They can say whatever the fuck they want. You'll never be 100% sure. Like, if you fuck them and they bleed, okay, that's kind of indicative that they're virgins. But like, there's many ways that you can't really tell. Like if a regular girl tells you, "Oh yeah, I've only been with 5 guys," you never know, dude. She could have had like 50, and how the fuck are you ever gonna find out? You know, and sticking your dick in that and licking that twat and all that stuff, that just makes me want to vomit. It really does, you know. So, in today's world, you gotta strap yourself up with those rubbers, pound away, and then drop them. That's it. They're not worth much. But getting more into the Amish communities, that's the only way I see it, guys. Like, if you're a person that really, really, really craves that traditional way of life, and you believe in marriage, and you believe in children, and you believe in sort of having your little community, and you know, it's sort of a fulfilling life in one way or another, because you're not working a regular dead-end job. You're working in the field. You have your own piece of land to support your own family and to support yourself. You know, everything you do, you benefit from. You know, you're not working for some boss or whatever that harasses you, this and that. You're working for your own survival. And to me, that's sort of an alpha male mentality. And a lot of the Amish guys are alphas. Like, I saw them and they're ripped as fuck because they work in the fields all, ever since, you know, their teenage years up until their adulthood. You know, they work in the sun. You know, they're ripped. They're pretty shredded. They don't lift any weights or anything, people. So, I mean, it's kind of hard. Is that really your thing, though? Do you really want to go, like, for example, me, going from the person I am into that sort of community? They do accept outsiders, but there's a lot of rules and regulations you have to go through. But let's say I wanted to go through with that. Would I be able to abandon electronics such as computers and cell phones and then go from driving, and one part of me craves driving a freaking Ferrari and a Lamborghini, and then I'm going to say, oh, fuck it, I'm going to drive a horse-driven buggy or something in the countryside. And one part of me says I want to fuck, women from all around the world and just keep on pounding away. But then, would I be able to settle down for just one sort of Nordic, because they're Nordic people, they're Germanic, they're a mixture of German and Dutch, I believe. So they believe in sort of racial purity as well. So they have their own language too. It's a mixture of Dutch and Germanic. So you have to go into that world. It's like leaving behind this technological world and going into the dark ages. For some people that may be a benefit. Oh, 8 minutes, right? So for some people that may be a benefit, because they're tired of this modern world and they just want a simple, basic life. And you could definitely do that if you look into it. But it's like I said, how would I be able to do that? With so many differing opinions and so many differing options. It's like, would I be really able to do that? To abandon everything, to go into that life, and to actually follow traditional values of working in the fields and having a family and supporting my family. Would it be a happy life? I feel it would be, because it would be simple, and it would be just the way things were meant to be, The females don't get exposed to all this culture and this outside world. They don't even take pictures, They're not exposed to all the impurities and all the nastiness, They're not encouraged to dress slutty. They're not encouraged to follow slutty behavior. They're not encouraged to race mix. They're not encouraged to do all these things that today's society is doing. Like, today's society glorifies women sleeping with a bunch of men just the same way it glorifies men sleeping with a bunch of women. Especially the whole race mixing and diversity thing is very glorified. Fucking Jewish propaganda, that's all it is. Die Juden sind Ratten. But anyway, guys, that's my little video. Just think it through. Like, just think that shit through on your own. Would you be able to do it? Would you be able to really give up your life and follow the traditionalism? Like, would you really want to do that? Just, work in the fields every day, bask in the sun a little bit, have some homemade food later on, say your prayers, bang your woman, every night or something. Like, I don't know how it is in their religion, but I don't think you could pull out or use any contraceptives, so that may be pretty tricky too. But I don't know how it works. I never asked an Amish person how their sex life is. That's just too personal to ask. And then going to the community churches, they don't have a massive church. They have their own little at-home masses or something every Sunday. So it's a very religious and strict following. It's akin to being sort of like a monk in Ayurvedic or Buddhist societies. It's very similar, except monks live a simple life from a different regard. They don't have any companions, they don't have any children, whatever. They live a life of simple purity in a different way. Whereas Amish people are more traditional. They believe in wife and kids and families and stuff like that. Because they believe that everybody is equal under God, and that, God gave you this ability to live in such a way and to live simply, and to not be tempted by sin and damnation and shit like that, but just to live a very simple, pure, and basic life. Tricky, people, tricky. But those are the two extremes I see. That's the only thing I see. I don't see any middle ground in between. Finding a girl in today's world to settle down with and have kids with, and all these laws and everything, they fuck you over. Like I said, in the Amish place, there is no laws. The woman can't divorce you and take all your things. They can't take your kids. It's till death do us part. You're stuck together. If they want to leave and run away, they can. They could do that, but they'll never be accepted back into the community, and your children still stay your children, your land still stays your land, and your house still stays your house. They have to do everything on their own. They're fucked. They're in the position that a man would be after a divorce or something. They're left with nothing. They have everything taken away from them. You see? So it's the reverse roles. It's also a concept that occurs for both genders. You see, if a male runs away from the Amish community, he has to leave behind everything. He has to leave behind his family. He has to leave behind his house, his land, everything. There's no coming back, and there's no claiming and fighting for that. So it's something to look into, people. But like I said, would I be able to do it? I don't know. I'll see. The more years pass, the older I get, I might actually just say fuck it and settle down with a traditional way of life. It has to get to the point where I get completely fed up and tired with modern day society, and it's getting pretty close. It's getting pretty close because people are fucked up. Everything is fucked up. There's just so much rage. And running away to a more primitive lifestyle isn't necessarily the best thing, because you're running away. But what else is there to do when the world around you is falling apart already? Might as well just sit down in some fucking farm and chill out, and have a good time and let the fucking world crumble around, maybe, So, that's how I see it, people. Peace out.